What's going on, guys? It's Julian. You're watching part 1 of the leg day of Iron Will Online. So, it's your first real leg day. Might be your first time squatting ever. Kind of a scary thing. If you try what I'm about to show you and you don't have a ton of success with it, you can try squatting with a dumbbell instead of the barbell. But I'm really going to try to show you guys how to squat with this thing and be comfortable with it. The first exercise I'm going to show you on the leg day is the box squat, and it's got myself a little box here. If your gym doesn't have wooden boxes like this, which some of them don't, you can use a bench. You just want to make sure that that bench is low enough, and it works better if it has little declines so you can adjust your depth. But really what we're looking for when you squat is for your hips to go below your knees. So it should look something like that, about that low, and then coming back up. So I have my box just as a little target to make sure I'm going that low. So as far as the actual squat, I have my barbell position between my chin and my chest area, right about here. That's the perfect spot. I'm gonna climb under the bar with a shoulder width stance. So I have my shoulder width stance. I'm gonna squeeze my shoulder blades together hard and make a platform for this bar to sit on. I'm gonna push my hips up to unrack it, take a couple steps back. Now what I'm gonna try to do is guide my hips back to hit the box down there. So I'm gonna keep my eyes forward, again, squeeze my back. I'm gonna push my hips backwards to the box, hit the box, squeeze my glutes, and drive my back into the bar. Push my hips backwards, squeeze my butt, drive my back into the bar. Hips back, glutes, back. Just like that. When you're done, walk it in, bring it down. The heels on the board, and I'm kind of pitched forward a little bit. So what that's going to do is help my ankle to be more flexible so I can get deeper in my squat. Now there's no box here. I'm just going to try to get as low as I can, fold right up, keep my shins kind of vertical, straight up, squeeze my butt and stand up. Now, of course, if this is simple, after a couple weeks it will be. You get the dumbbell out front. This is called a goblet squat to make it a little bit harder. I'm turning to the side so you can see me. I'm just going to stand here and basically just try to get my heels off the ground and squeeze my calves as hard as I can. So I'm trying to push off high onto my big toe, just like this. I'm going to control myself down to the ground. Now I've done these enough times to where I can do it with minimal body weight and get a good exercise. If you have a hard time with that, or feeling it at all, grab some weight, do the same exact thing, just let your arms hang, right off onto the big toe, back to the heels. Always with control. Never do your calf raises like this. Don't be that person. If you want a little bit more of an intense thing, you can grab the board for your board squat. Do the exact same thing, but put the ball of your foot on the board and then do your calf raise. It'll give you a little bit more motion and a little bit more stretch. The split squat, which is a lunge where you do not change position. So you don't move forward, you don't move backwards. You just put your feet in a certain position and stay right where you are and do the movement. So the best way to find this position is to basically take a big step forward. Now, when you take a big step forward, your feet are going to be staggered apart. Your main goal is to turn your hips so that they're both facing forwards. You keep your chest and eyes up and you drop your back knee to the floor. So when you do this, your knee will come down towards the floor. You do not have to touch the ground at all. But if you'd like to kind of tap the ground, make sure you do it lightly and keep this front knee behind the toe. So that's the main thing. What you don't want to do is push your knee too far forward, then the knee takes unnecessary pressure. If you need to use weights, or if this is too easy body weight, do the same thing with dumbbells. Just let the dumbbells hang, chest and eyes stay up, guide the back knee to the ground, stand right up. So do all on this side, then switch feet, do all of them on this side. So you can keep your feet locked, right into position, and go for reps. All right guys, so we're doing B2 now. It's the Deadbug Pulse. So this is a core exercise. It's a really simple idea. It stems from the dead bug itself, which is this position. So you're gonna lay on the ground, have a little mat here just for back comfort. Lay flat on your back. You're gonna pick your heels up off of the back of your leg. So you actually have to keep your legs holding them like so. Pull your toes to your face and then reach up off the ground. So this is the regular dead bug, and a lot of people can hold this for a long time, just keeping their shoulder blades off the ground like that. The Deadbug Pulse is this position, but pulsing to the ceiling like this without letting your shoulder blades come off the ground. So you'll definitely feel it there. And the goal today is to do this as long as you can, and then week to week you will basically try to add time to it. So if you can do 20 seconds of dead bug pulsing, the next week try to do 25 seconds and 30 seconds and so on and so forth. Okay guys, now we're working into the conditioning circuit. So this one's C1, this is the kettlebell swing. So typically use a kettlebell like this with the handle at the top, the weight sits all the way at the bottom. If you don't have access to kettlebells, you can use a dumbbell for the same thing. You just grab the top of the dumbbell. It's just not as good of a grip, but you can still do it for the same exact exercise. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can just see what's going on with my hips here, because the kettlebell swing is mostly in hips. So I'll take my kettlebell or dumbbell, whichever I have. Just let this hang on from my shoulders straight down between my legs. And the idea of the kettlebell swing is that you're just pushing your hips back and then squeezing your butt and shoving your hips forward, and your arms just kind of noodle up. So what you're not doing is you're not squatting and then trying to throw forward. That's not what it is. Think about pushing your butt back with your knees bent and your hips going backwards, and then shoving your hips forward and noodling your arms up. You also shouldn't just front raise it like this. You want some momentum, and you want it to kind of flow from one rep into the next. Okay, now paired with the kettlebell swing, we got the step up to the box. Just like the squat that we talked about earlier, if you don't have a box to step on, you can use a bench. It's perfectly fine. Or you can even stack some plates up and step on that. You'd probably want it at least about a foot to start, which is what this one is. It's a 12-inch box. And the trick of the step up is to plant your foot. Seems pretty straightforward, and it is. But plant your foot, and you want to keep this knee behind that toe. So when you step up, you want to get all the pressure on your front foot, but not push and pitch that knee forward over your toe. So put pressure on the box, but have your knee right under your heel and push straight up and squeeze your butt at the top. Plant that foot, squeeze straight up, and don't slouch. So what I mean by don't slouch is don't come down like this. If you have dumbbells, you can't use dumbbells on this. Don't come up like this. You want to have your chest up, your eyes up, like the same thing in most of these exercises. Dumbbells by your sides, push off that front foot, lock it out at the top, and just keep that rhythm going, alternate each time.